The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Everyone, and welcome to Psychedelic Reporters for this Tuesday, the 29th, episode 132, here on Knock Network, the video news podcast focused on psychedelic medicine being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer from Kirkland Lake, Ontario for the awesome intro track, originally recorded by the Moody Blues, with some customized changes for our show. I am joined by my amazing joint host, Tara Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Alvarius, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tara.
Well, hello, hobbies, and hello, everyone. Great to be back after another week. I'd like to take a minute to introduce Bufo. He's our Sonoran desert toad, or Colorado mud toad. Did you know he emits DMT from his skin? And while that sounds like great fun, park rangers would like to remind everyone, please don't lick that toad.
Do not lick that toad. Do not. My new teeth is really weird. It's weirded me out. We're on Tuesday already. I've had these babies when we went to the dental person and they stuck my teeth in. Mushrooms in teeth is kind of weird.
I like them. I like them. Makes you be able to chew better.
Right.
Me too.
So we are doing a cool thing here, and Bufos has taken us on an integration process. And he has taken us through an integration process using trip sitters. And I don't know if anyone knows what Trip Sitters is, but it's a very informative site on the web. And it's tripsitters.org. And we are in chapter 5 in the integration process. And this is the heart. Listen to the heart. Cultivating gratitude improves our lives in countless ways. The mindset gets you out of your head and into your heart. Instead of focusing on your worries and your problems, you can give thanks. Has
Your audio is cutting out there. Okay, so cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Marcus Tiliaciero, like any spiritual practice, you must commit to developing gratitude every day. No matter how much you want to fall back into old habits of complaining, switching from complaining to appreciation is a powerful muscle to train. The key is to begin. In the morning or the evening, you may practice writing a list of 3 to 5 things for which you are incredibly grateful. This practice allows you to focus on happiness and improve your outlook. In a study carried out in 2003, researchers proved that those who kept a gratitude journal exercised more often, reported better mental and physical health, experienced better sleep, and a greater sense of interconnectedness, and felt more optimistic. Writing a gratitude list is a straightforward way to instantly shift into a more positive perspective. When you are grateful, it's hard to complain. Another option is to create a grateful or a gratitude jar. Every time you feel grateful for a person, event, object, or place, you write it down and put it in the jar. You can pick a piece of paper in the jar whenever you feel down and need to remember how lucky you are. Creating a gratitude jar will help you to practice expressing thanks, even for minor things. It enables you to remember and cherish the beautiful things that you may overlook. A third idea is to handwrite a letter to a person you are particularly grateful to have in your life. Be detailed. Express all the beautiful qualities about this person and how she or he has made your life better. Not only will this help you to develop your gratitude, but it will also create a positive experience for the person whom you write the letter. Be a positive force for the people around you is vital and to the collective healing process. As the famed polymath Albert Schweitzer said, at times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. It doesn't have to be complicated. Each small action makes a difference. You can tell someone you love them and appreciate them. You can notice nature's beauty. You can deepen your friendships instead of constantly seeking more stimulation and new connections. You can pray before meals and thank all the hands involved in bringing the food to the table. You can practice complimenting rather than criticizing. When you are grateful, it's hard to complain. And you can learn more with the links below there.
Ooh, yeah, yes. So compassionate practices. Shanti Diva says, all the suffering there is in the world arises from wishing ourselves to be happy. All the happiness there in this world arises from wishing others to be happy. It's important to offer ourselves to others with an abundant and generous mindset and to find ways to shift focus from me to other beings. Donating our time, energy, and resources to organizations whose missions we support can help us feel connected to a higher vision. We may want to reach out to our friends and to family with whom we've last lost connected some time ago. As we continue to work on ourselves, we increasingly bring joy and optimism to those around us. When we begin to love ourselves, sharing that love and compassion with others is much easier. So here's an example of a compassionate exercise intended just like me. Say these words to yourself when you notice yourself being trouble being compassionate, feeling empathy, or recognizing common humanity. Remind yourself that the people around you are just like you, and see if you can find tangible examples to support this. If you're annoyed with a customer, the service agent you've been on the phone with for an hour, take a step back, breathe, and ask yourself, how are they just like me? They're searching for happiness, just like you. They're trying to pay their bills, just like you. They are capable of love and pain and compassionate, just like you. The idea is to dissolve the separation between you and the other person through empathy. You can use just like me anywhere at any time. All people's happiness seek happiness just like you. And they may be going about it in an unprotected way, just like you. If you need help remembering to do this, sit down in the evening and consider or write about the difficult people you encountered during the day. Then list all the ways you think they are just like you. Wow.
Yeah, practicing self compassion is paramount. The person we may have the most trouble feeling compassion towards is ourselves. We are often not there for ourselves in moments of suffering. Instead of alleviating pain, our mounting self criticism makes it worse. Many of us say or do things to ourselves that we wouldn't even do to the people we dislike. If our lack of compassion for ourselves impedes our ability to practice compassion for others, or even if we realize that we aren't including me in our circle of compassion, we can benefit from practicing self compassion. Practicing loving kindness meditation can help us develop compassion. We want to talk to ourselves as if we would speak to a friend or a young baby. When we begin to love ourselves, sharing that love and compassion with others is much easier. Remembering the divine. Psychedelics may open us to ineffable spiritual insights, feelings, and ideas. We may have that we may feel that we finally understand how everything is connected. Everything is one, and it's all love. At the same time, how do I bring spirituality into my daily life? How do I create reminders of these experiences and my connection to the divine regularly? There are several options available. Connecting with the trees, rivers, mountains, oceans, animals, and insects can connect us to ourselves.
Gathering, studying, and contemplating the works of spiritual teachers with whom we resonate is beneficial. Their insights can help us remember essential truths. Rumi shows pain is often necessary for growth. The moon is the place where the light enters you. The Dalai Lama shares, remember that sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck. Amma teaches when we perceive goodness in everything, there we will be filled with God's grace. That grace is the source of all success in life. Created an altar which pictures of our teachers or objects we might find meaningful, maybe essential to creating a daily reminder for ourselves. Every altar is different. There are no rights and wrongs. We're on the right track if altar helps us connect with the essence within and beyond ourselves. We can learn more about creating an altar here and here. That's a link. We may feel called to visit retreat centers, churches, I like that word, temples, monasteries, or other sacred sites. Spending time with our teacher is more potent than reading books or seeing pictures. We can connect with a community of individuals with similar values at these places. Feeling like a part of a large community is an integral part of the integration process. Our psychedelic experiences teach us the of teaching importance of setting to our well-being. Wow.
Being in nature can also remind us that we are connected with the whole of life. We made We are made of the same elements in the natural world, and connecting with the trees, rivers, mountains, oceans, animals, and insects can connect us to ourselves. Expression, finding creative outlets to reflect on your journey and express your truth is essential. You can connect to and understand your experience from different angles by expressing yourself. So, journaling. After a journey, you may feel called to write what you remembered about your experience and compare your perspective and from to feelings to those from before. How do you perceive your intentions now? What has become clear? What insight have you gained? Journaling can help you to slow down and get in touch with your innermost desires and truths. Free writing, the writing process without stopping for a set amount of time. You can get more in flow. You write whatever comes to your mind without letting fear of grammatical errors, bad ideas, or poor writing habits inhibit your process. Grab a pen or a laptop, set a timer, and write continuously for the allotted time. Don't let your hand leave the page or your fingers leave the keys. You can edit later. While this may initially seem uncomfortable, it's an excellent way to get the creative juices flowing. And there's some links about that you can click there. And I would agree with that. I used to do a lot of that sort of free flow writing where I would just write and then go back and edit it later. And that I did that in English class. That was just part of our creative writing. So that's interesting. They mention it here.
That is, it's really cool, man. I love what they do here so far. So art, it can be challenged to describe a psychedelic experience with words. If you're frustrated by the inability to verbalize your experience, I've been there. Super little macro dose, and you can't do nothing. You may benefit from creating, participating in, or enjoying art. Art comes in many forms, including music, performance, and painting. Art is for everyone. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you don't want to paint or sing, you can find art to enjoy passively. You can listen to music, watch a play, or browse the local art gallery. Approach your art consumption mindfully. How does each piece make you feel? What emotions does it bring it up? Being aware of and connecting with your feelings facilitates the healing. There may also be art therapists with whom you resonate, or workshops or courses you can enjoy in this area. Ooh, dance! Tell us about dance!
Dance. Moving your body is one of the most important ways to balance your physical and mental health. For thousands of years, dance has been used, developed, and influenced by countless cultures. Dance connects you with your body and mind in a freeing and cathartic way. Modern societies often stifle creativity and make you self-conscious about your body. You may worry about not doing it right or how others perceive you. Notice and ignore these feelings. You can start moving, even if it's alone in the bedroom. Connecting to your body can help you feel more at home and peace with your physical body. Dance helps strengthen your heart and lungs, improves aerobic fitness, and promotes better flexibility and coordination. Plus, you'll feel more confident in overcoming obstacles and being creative. You'll want to develop a connection between your thoughts and your movements. What does your body want to do? What does it want to dance, softly or slowly? Does it want to chant or stomp to a upbeat rhythm? Does it want to move through space with closed eyes, feeling into the answers and allowing your body to move without thought? This connection with and appreciation for the body is invaluable as you grow and process the psychedelic experience.
Oh, wow. So next week is the environment.
Yes. So make
Wow.
sure you
Okay.
tune in for that.
Great article. Great articles of this integration process. I mean, I haven't really breathing. I worked a little bit on the breathing the other day, but I haven't really utilized it to its fullest in my own practices yet.
It takes time, right? It doesn't happen overnight. So just keep trying.
So here we have imperialac.uk. So over on the pond or across the pond and on an island, Imperial, it says initiative trial will use psilocybin to target relapse in opioid addiction. And this is by Samantha Ray. This is really fucking kick-ass article.
It is because it's something we've been saying for years. Already that we know this helps people because we've seen it help people. So it's great that now we're getting some actual legit research from a recognized facility, not just from the people who have been doing this for a long time behind the scenes. So Imperial researchers will explore the potential for psilocybin therapy in drug recovery as part of a landmark trial. As a first in the UK clinical trial exploring the use of psychedelics in addiction has won funding from the National Institute for Health Research and the government's Office for Life Sciences. The trial, being led by Imperial College London, will focus on whether psilocybin, the active compound in magic mushrooms, combined with psychological support, can help prevent relapse in people who have been addicted to opioids such as heroin. Combining Imperial's expertise in psychedelics and opioid addiction with the work will be led by Dr. David Eritzo from the Center for Psychedelic Research and Dr. Louise Patterson within the addiction research team. The trial will recruit those who have recently undergone detoxification from street opioids such as heroin or opioid replacements like methadone or buprenorphine. Participants will visit Imperial's NIHR clinical research facility, which is based at Hammersmith's Hospital campus and hosted by Imperial College Healthcare NHS Trust, to receive psilocybin therapy.
While they will also undergo a brain scan functional MRI so the research team can investigate mechanisms by which psilocybin works in the brain. Therapist support will form part of the treatment sessions with participants closely monitored for effects on their mental health and tolerability of the psilocybin. Participants will then be monitored for a period of up to 6 months after the dosing sessions to track any changes to their opioid use, cravings, mental health outcomes, and psychological well being. This combination of treatment has shown positive effects for alcohol and smoking addiction. Now the team wants to find out if it could be beneficial for opioid addiction. Dr. Louise Patterson said this trial will examine whether we can improve recovery in a severely underserved group of people, namely those who opioid dependence during their most vulnerability post detox phase. So, in layman terms, does that mean people just finally getting off the shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, clinical studies, including those in our Center for Psychedelic Research, have shown great promise for this type of treatment in other mental health conditions. We want to see if it works equally well for the opioid use disorder. Opioid addiction is a major health challenge, and the latest figures from the WHO estimated about 600,000 deaths worldwide were attributed to the drug use 2019. close to 80% of these deaths were related to opioids, with about 25% of those deaths caused by opioid overdose. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that 80% of those deaths were related to opioids. Well, if they were taking them, that's likely what caused their death, in my opinion. But I don't know. But those are huge numbers, and that's not just happening in the UK. That's happening around the world. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. You
Yeah,
want to tell us in the UK
yeah.
about?
In the UK, around 140,000 people are accessing treatment for opioid dependency. That's just in the UK. That's crazy. But there are currently limited numbers of medicines to help prevent individuals from relapsing during recovery. Dr. David Ezrazo, clinical director and deputy head of the Center for Psychedelic Research at Imperial College London, said, "We know that up to 90% of people relapse back to opioid use within 12 months of finishing detox. So finding new and effective treatment is essential. If this trial is successful, it offers hope for a new type of treatment that could make significant difference to this group of people. If our initial trial is successful, we will work to enable the development of further clinical trials in larger populations to bring new treatment to patients and the NHS. The trial has been designed with the help of individuals who have suffered from opioid addiction. The study will be supported by an in-kind donation from Filament Health, a Canadian-based natural psychedelic drug development company. The team is also working with Perceptive, a leading provider of preclinical and clinical trial imaging services to the global biopharmaceutical industry. Recruitment is expected to begin in the spring of 2025. Wow. The project is one of 4 focusing on reducing harm from illegal drugs, which have been awarded funding through the NIHR's Intervention for Innovation, Addiction, Innovation for Treatment and Recovery Awards, announced today. The financial support is part of the government's addictions healthcare goals, part of the Department of Health and Social Care's stated aim to deliver a world-class treatment and recovery system for people experiencing drug and alcohol addictions. Professor Anne Lingford Hughes, chair of the Addiction Health Care Goals, and who is also a professor of addiction biology at Imperial, said new approaches to treat drug addiction and reduce drug-related deaths, particularly from overdose, are urgently needed. The Addiction Healthcare Goals program is pleased to fund promising initiatives that have brought together partnerships between industry, academia, and organizations involved in delivering treatment and care for those experiencing drug addiction. Very cool.
It is, and especially see what they got going on over there in another country. I mean, it's we're seeing this in a lot in the past, like this year more is globally, like Australia, New Zealand, and it's just beautiful, man. It brings tears to a mushroom's eyes.
Right. At least they're looking at this now for addiction treatment because nothing else is working. People are dying every single day because of these harmful opioids that they're taking, whether it be heroin or pills their doctor have prescribed, or pills that weren't prescribed to them, but were prescribed to someone else, right? We know this is happening worldwide. It's not a one country problem. And we all need to work together with these researchers to find a better way to treat these people because the current processes suck. They're not working, and we know that.
And as long as they keep on training people to be able to distribute mushrooms, keep it in a healthy standard. I mean, even, it's the next article here on wweek.com talks about the glut of shroom guides leads to hold on training. So there's a lot of underemployed facilitators right now. And this is by Anthony Finger. And man, this is another cool article because it talks about like the facilitators, the training, and like all that other stuff as legalization goes throughout the countries.
Absolutely. And we wondered if this would become a problem, right? I think we talked about this a while back, thinking, it's great they're doing all this training and getting people up to speed, but is the demand there? Is there enough work for all of these people, right? Right. So Synaptic Institute, one of a dozen schools in Oregon that trains facilitators to lead psychedelic trips, says it's suspending its psilocybin training program because a glut of guides has made potential students weary of pursuing certifications to do the work. There's a lot of underemployed facilitators right now. Synaptic founder Matthew Hicks said in an email to his mailing list earlier this month. So it's not necessarily the best financial investment to spend $8,000, $9,000, or $10,000 to become a facilitator if you're dependent on income from doing that work. Psilocybin trips led by trained guides became legal in Oregon after voters passed Measure 109 in 2020. Since then, 417 guides have completed training at the schools and applied for licenses, and 356 have been approved according to Oregon's Health Authority, which administers the psilocybin program. Synaptic will continue training licensed healthcare providers or professionals who want to administer ketamine. Hicks said its clinic where patients receive acupuncture, naturopathic, mental health care, and therapy with ketamine and psilocybin will also remain open. It's a little heavy-hearted that we let the psilocybin program go, Hicks said, but we're confident that it's the right decision and it will enable us to better fulfill our mission as a whole. And that was a short but sweet article.
It is, and it brings us into medication time.
That's right, folks. It's time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our sponsors, and then we'll return with more articles that Bufo has chosen, making mainstream media news.
We'll be back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on Psychedelic Reporters on Knock Network.
Discover the treasure trove of flavors at Miss Jolly's Munchie Factory. Satisfy your cravings with our award-winning treats. Follow us on Instagram at Captain Rogers 705. Let Miss Jolly's Munchie Factory lift your spirits. Experience the comforting embrace of our freshly prepared soups and infused cornbread.
Hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyndinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set. One dab, only really need one dab. One dab.
Smoke Signal is a medical dispensary where you can get all your products and needs.
Vaping a whole bunch. Might just start laying up the blunts. God. Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram. Go and hold it in, feel it in your ribs.
So come and check us out in Tyndinaga 55 Highway 49 in Tyndonega. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Tune in daily to NOK Network's diverse podcasting lineup. Ganja News Update, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Tara Simpson and Ron McNabb. Waking Up with the Wayniac, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific with Wayne Cruz from sunny California. Grow 420, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern with Ron McNabb. Psychedelic Reporters, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Hobbies Puppets and Tara Simpson. Peace, News and Views, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Sir Stevo and Kim Cooper. Thursdays we have Open Your Eye with Kim Cooper and Tara Simpson, 8 p.m. Eastern. Followed by Thursday Night Vibes at 9:15 p.m. Eastern with Master and Mama Rochi. The IWK 710 Daily Sesh airs 7 nights a week with our rotating joint hosts, nightly at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in to all the podcasting on NOK Network.
Join us for NOK Network monthly specials, 12 months a year. Movie night. Spotlights on entertainment. And live on location coverage. Stay up to date about upcoming programming by subscribing to NOK Network on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. Check out our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
Advertising space available at NOK. Contact us for a rate sheet at knocknetwork.com.
Hey, dudes and dudettes. Enjoy the show, man.
And we're back from our medication session live on Psychedelic Reporters here on NOK Network.
And we have another set of stories coming at you from the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. So this next article is a very interesting article. It covers a lot of things, and it comes from psychologytoday.com. And it looks like it was from Mark S. Gold, MD. Magic mushrooms, teens, and young adults. Recreational psilocybin differs from research-based use and holds major risks, reviewed by Hera Estrafferrano.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because, again, there's always been a lot of talk around, should kids take this? Should youth be involved in this, right? Because we're all about protecting the children and making sure that, we do no harm. We're in the middle of a rapidly evolving cultural, media, and legal landscape when it comes to psychedelics, says Nora D. Volquo, MD of the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Psilocybin is the hallucinogenic substance found in magic mushrooms and the subject of many studies as potential psychiatric medicine. Research suggests that psilocybin is the most consumed plant-based psychedelic drug in the United States, with 11.3% of individuals aged 12 or older using psilocybin in 2022. Wow. Most mushrooms containing psilocybin come from 4 species. You have the Psilocybe, the Plateus, the Pantan, and the G one. I don't know. I can't pronounce these terms.
I would say that's Gymnopilus.
Gymnopilus.
Yeah.
The The substance was deemed illegal based on the Controlled Substances Act. Some states and cities have decriminalized magic mushrooms, leading some people to believe these drugs are now safe to use recreationally. They aren't. Magic mushrooms or shrooms have hallucinogenic effects when eaten and often result in nausea, headache, visual distortions, hallucination, and rapid heart rate. Interesting.
It is. This is some potentially good aspects of shrooms. It's important to note that taking psilocybin in a clinical setting under the control of researchers is nothing like buying and using shrooms from some random using. Oh, why did they put a space there? And using shrooms from some random person. Nevertheless, the positive research findings on psilocybin may be a reason people may erroneously assume shrooms are safe. Data support psilocybin's efficacy and safety in treating depression, particularly in people who have not responded to other treatments. Multiple trials have demonstrated significant, rapid, and sustained reductions in depressive symptoms. Research are also found magic mushrooms effective against anxiety and depression in patients with life-threatening cancer. Psilocybin is being tested against post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD), alcohol use disorder, and smoking cessation. But these are controlled studies. As Professor Linda B. Akutla, a PhD MPH senior author on a widely referenced 2024 paper, states, most national surveys and studies don't capture self-reported data on psilocybin use specifically. So such findings can help shed important light on where we've been largely left in the dark. People who have used psilocybin outside medical supervision need to be educated about risks associated with, says Nayus Joseph Palomar, PhD, MPH. Charles Shamronsky, PhD professor and director of Taylor Family Institute for Initiative Psychiatric Research and chair of Washington University Center for Brain Research in Mood Disorders in St. Louis states, recreational use of psilocybin symptoms can include agitation and psychotic-like symptoms in addition to medical change, tachyo hypertension. We still understand little about the effects of psychedelics in the brain, particularly persisting effects in humans. The bottom line is what we know little about the risk-benefit ratio of psilocybin in adolescents and young adults. We just don't have information about adolescents and their effects on neural development. It's potentially scary, brave new world. So it's kind of neat kind of get this different aspect view. And it's weird. But this is what's keeping like our studies, because all the different doctors with their opinions.
For sure, for sure. And I happen to know that there are, different cultures who give mushrooms to their youth as medicine every day in their culture, right? So maybe they're starting to see that some of these cultural aspects to it haven't done any harm to those youth, and now they're bringing this study forth. A new research team led by Joshua Segal, MD, PhD at Washington University, used functional magnetic resonance imaging to track changes in the brain activity of adults given psilocybin. In the study, psilocybin caused major changes in functional connectivity, or FC, as a measure of how activity in the brain brain regions is correlated. Throughout the brain, most brain activity returned to normal within days of taking psilocybin. However, a reduction in FC between the default mode network and part of the hippocampus last at least 3 weeks. The bad and the ugly of recreational shrooms. The use of magic mushrooms without supervision of researchers has led to severe problems. So poison control center calls. People called poison control centers when they believed they or another person is in medical danger from an ingested substance. Increased calls to the U.S. poison control centers by adolescents and young adults using psilocybin corresponded with the decriminalization of the hallucinogen in the U.S. cities and states. University of Virginia School of Medicine researchers discovered it's a markedly concerning to me that children are gaining access to these products, says Christopher Holsedge, director of UVA Health Blue Ridge Poison Center and chief of UA's School of Medicine Division of Medical Toxicology. UVA researchers found that psilocybin-related calls tripled among teens 13 to 19. Approximately 75% of callers aged 13 to 19 required medical attention. The most common calls were for hallucinations or delusions, 36.6% of calls, agitation, 27.6% of calls, abnormally fast heart rate, 20.2%, and confusion, 16%. Reports of death by falls or jumps from bridges have also been reported or have been attributed to psilocybin.
Risk for teen shroom users. The adolescent brain is still developing. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, the brain finishes maturing in the mid to late 20s. Hallucinogens may interfere with the maturation process, leading to long-term cognitive and emotional difficulties. Adolescents also have an elevated risk for anxiety, depression, and even schizophrenia. Hallucinogen use can trigger these conditions. Adolescents on shrooms may struggle to distinguish between hallucinations and reality. Increasing risk for dangerous behaviors, accidents, or self-harm. Teenagers may be more susceptible or delusions from hallucinations even after the joke wears off. Repeated high-dose hallucination used during adolescence may affect memory, attention, and learning as these cognitive functions are still developing. Hallucinogen use may lead to social withdrawal, academic decline, and disruption of relationships. Some teens using magic mushrooms recreationally may be depressed. In one study involving 173,000 adolescents, 2,469 subjects had used psilocybin. The psilocybin average lifetime users were on average 17 years, mostly male 60%, and non-Hispanic white 71% compared to non-users. Among the psilocybin user group, 31% respondents had an incidence of major depression, compared to 16% of non-users. Thus, the odds of psilocybin use amongst depressed participants proved twice as great among those without depression.
Young adults and psilocybin. Young adults are particularly prone to using hallucinogens. According to the University of Michigan's Monitoring for the Future, hallucinogen use among young adults aged 19 to 30 nearly doubled between 2018 and 2021, with psilocybin being one of the most commonly used hallucinogens. NIDA also finds that the use of psilocybin and other non-LSD hallucinogens has risen from 3.4% to 6.6%. In 2022, past year hallucinogen use reached its highest level since the survey began, driven primarily by increased availability and changing social perceptions. In 2023, 9% of young adults in the Monitoring the Future study reported using hallucinogens, including psilocybin, over an increase over 2018, where the figure was closer to 5%.
Increased law enforcement seizures. Police seizures of shrooms containing psilocybin increased dramatically in the U.S. between January 2017 and December 22nd. Law enforcement seizures more than tripled from 402 seizures in 2017 to 1396 in 2022. Most seizures occurred in the Midwest, followed by the West. Data for the analysis were collected through high-intensity data trafficking areas program. Wow, dude. So I guess the summary of all this information here on psychology today, besides a bunch of doctors reading this now.
Right? Yeah. So the summary, some states and cities have decriminalized psychedelic mushrooms, leading some people to believe that the mushrooms are now safe, and they're not. Controlled studies suggest that clinical benefits from psilocybin, especially in depression, which may have led some to believe psilocybin is safe. However, magic mushrooms are unsafe except in controlled clinical studies, where subjects are carefully monitored. In addition, psilocybin is illegal in nearly every state. Recent research provides essential information on psilocybin's effects on the adult brain, and as scientists seek to harness the drug's therapeutic potential. However, researchers strongly caution against self-medicating with psilocybin, and there are several risks to taking it in adolescence and or adulthood without being overseen by trained mental health experts. Increasing numbers of adolescents in use are intrigued by psilocybin. Magic mushrooms induced impairment in judgment and perception may lead to accidents, self-harm, and even suicide. I don't know. I took lots of mushrooms in high school, and I'm just fine.
Well, it wasn't just geared towards that. It wanted you to understand that the brain is still functioning, that my thing is I'm glad Bufos made us aware of this article, because a lot of doctors ask the therapists and in the hospitals and whatnot, how many doctors are prescribed to psychology today and will read that article and come up with a biased or non-biased opinion.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's just like it's not for every adult either, right? It's definitely not for every kid, but I mean, if they're going to do dumb shit, they're going to do dumb shit, whether they're sober or they're on mushrooms. Should they do it in the right set and setting with some supervision? Probably, because they're kids and they do dumb shit.
Well, and as a puppet, I'm not. I myself personally, it's not something I would ever want to do with an adult as a kid or whatnot. And I wish I would have waited. And we're promoters that people wait till their brains are functioning and stuff like that. On when you do a drug or whatnot. But again, it's individual. It's if parents, if they feel a medication, even with cannabis, will help the it's a touchy subject, but it needs to be touched.
Yeah, situational. And again, I mean, I don't think kids should just run out and take a handful of mushrooms in the forest with their friends. I mean, probably not a smart idea. Shouldn't be in the forest with their friends anyways at night. But, at the same time, if they're going to do it, I would hope that they're doing it safely in a controlled setting and environment, right? Just as any other person. You probably shouldn't be running around on the railroad tracks high on mushrooms. Just, like common sense stuff, someplace safe with somebody sober who can keep an eye on you. But again, if you can wait. I mean, why rush it, right? Why rush it?
Well, Well, and as the world turns and as psychedelics becomes the norm, and as it gets accepted throughout the states and other countries, you're going to be faced with new stuff like our next article coming from news clearance jobs. Psychedelics and security clearances. Can ayahuasca derail your national security clearance? Or security career. And this is written by Sean Bigley. But I mean, again, there's a lot of people like I mean, there's a couple people in government jobs that I know are in a legal state and legally can microdose as a resident of that state.
Right. Yeah. If you've never heard of ayahuasca, you can forgive yourself for the ignorance. Until recently, it was a time honored yet fringe form of psychological medicine practiced by indigenous tribes in South America. In the past decade, however, ayahuasca has gathered a cult following among Westerners seeking enlightenment. No longer confined to South America, shaman led ayahuasca ceremonies began popping up in places like New York and Silicon Valley circa the mid 2010s. Its adherents swear by the therapeutic properties. Some even describe the experience in religious terms, the vine that allows the spirit to wander detached from the body, entering the spiritual world otherwise forbidden for the alive. Okay. That would be all fine and well, except this talk of therapy and religion ignores an inconvenient reality. The namesake of the ayahuasca ceremony is the plant-based brew containing DMT, a powerful psychedelic that has been federally illegal in the United States since the 1970s. This is perhaps a stark reminder of the devil reality in the details. It's also an interesting example of how psychedelics like marijuana are moving from the taboo to the mainstream. Even some employers outside the national security sector are getting in on the psychedelic bandwagon, approving state legalized therapies that show early signs of medical potential as means of controlling ballooning employee healthcare costs.
So, but neither state legalization nor employer blessings proves relevant for mitigating subsequent security clearance concerns. Individuals seeking to transition from the commercial sector to national security sector should understand the cultural differences between industries and the risk inherent with violating federal law. The same is likely for psychedelic use couched in terms of religious practice, at least when it comes to security clearances. I use the qualifier likely because, to the best of my knowledge, no security clearance applicant has litigated this specific issue. The legal landscape outside of security clearance is completely complicated. Generally, the government can outlaw drug use, but a handful of wrinkles, including the legalization of peyote use in religious ceremonies on Native American reservations, the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and a 2006 Supreme Court case involving ayahuasca, Gonzalez versus O Central, and Sprita Beneficiente Unicoleca do Vegetal have resulted in an unsettled legal detente when it comes to religious use. Most recently, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration established an administration process for effectively listing religious groups to illegal use drugs in religious practices. But the process requires the GAA to determine whether the applicant's religious beliefs are sincerely held. A slippery slope that has drawn legal challenges and recent criticism from the U.S. government's own Government Accountability Office. Wow.
Right. So where things really get complicated is that the free exercise of religion is a constitutionally guaranteed right, while a security clearance is a privilege within the exclusive purview of the government to grant or to deny. How those two conflicting dynamics would reconcile in a legal challenge apparently remains open to question. However, a long line of federal court cases unsuccessfully raising other constitutional challenges to the denial of security clearance suggests that it would not likely end well for an applicant. In other words, clearance holders seeking a spiritual experience may wish to stick with more conventional practice. Interesting. So they're basically saying, like, if you do this while it's illegal, it doesn't matter if it helped you. You can't come work in this sector. So it's discrimination against your constitutionally given rights to take medicine because it's part of your religious practice.
Right. It was the same thing with cannabis. Okay. Well, ironically, a lot of hospitals, a lot of places don't allow you to take cannabis and stuff. But as states were legalizing medical and with recreational, like even here in Louisiana, you can with a medical card. They don't make it, So, I mean, it's stuff we're going to face because as an American, you have the right to those medicines. And this is where, like, even now, like how this said, even the government's own federal, like, is looking at the practices like, hey, can we really kick these people's civil right infringements?
Right. Yeah. It's so weird. Because where do you draw the line? I mean, we have these rights. Why do they get taken because of a law that's against your rights? I don't know. I think that, the discrimination's pretty wild when it comes to that sort of stuff. But yet, if my doctor prescribed me opioids, I could go work under a security clearance, right?
Yep.
Or gave me antidepressants, I could still get a security clearance. But if I were to go and do ayahuasca or take mushrooms or any of those things to help my health, I would not be eligible.
Right. Well, look at Oregon, and Colorado. Both states, you can legally take mushrooms as a citizen. So my job, if I worked at a federal prison or even as a janitor, regardless how, like, from guard, all the important of the job, is your right should be able to take those medications because it is legally, in your state, which the federal recognized with substances already, like even former presidents saying, well, if it's in your state, you can do them. So your job should be, it's going to be a clusterfuck for a while as they wrinkle out the whole psilocybin thing. And we get to cover it each week here on Psychedelic Net Reporters.
We definitely will. If we see it, we'll bring it to you.
And that brings us to thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on Knock Network, and for tuning in to our video podcast and on Knock Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites.
We really hope you've enjoyed your update today on mainstream coverage of psychedelic medicine advancements from around the globe.
Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint host, Tara Simpson, and to Bufo Alvarius for choosing the stories, and to you, our listener, for joining each week here on Psychedelic Tuesday. Let's hear from Dead Ringer again from Kirkland Lake on our way out. Pardon. Oh, here it is.
myself reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty